Alright, let's see if we can find out a little bit more about this F450. All we know right now is it's got an engine knock, it does not run, the batteries are dead, and it's got a significant oil leak out the front. So let's get the batteries charged up a bit and see if it will even start.
Doesn't have an oil pressure gauge.
No,
9 years old.
cardboard. Look, shut the door. You hear me?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Don't be climbing in and out and slamming doors. You're going to slam your fingers off. Jared.
It's like, when I shut the door and you said that, he's like,
Now we have the scanner connected to it, so we can see if there's any engine code stored. It'll help us narrow down the problem. Let's see what we find.
We got a cylinder number 5 misfire. Fuel pump A control circuit open. Fuel pump A control circuit open. So we got a misfire on cylinder number 5. So we're going to try to do a injector test. Don't activate any switches. Okay. Hit OK. Listen. Ignition switch is on. This test has found a fault. Ensure that all cables are connected. Try it again. Okay. Maybe the battery's getting low. Oh yeah, we lost voltage on the engine. Alright, the F450, officially nicknamed the Beast by my youngest son. Sorry for the wind, I got a pretty nasty storm coming through, so you can see the mountains. So it's been raining, snowing, and we just had some hail. So you can kind of see, pretty nasty. Should be a little bit of remnants of hail, you can see. So the goal here is to move it down into the shop and do a compression check on cylinder number 5. Previous video showed we checked the codes, and it was showing a cylinder 5 misfire was the only code that was present, and low pressure fuel, which I think was something to do with the battery issue we were having. I ended up some weird electrical stuff was going on to it, so I thought maybe the batteries were just dead. Pulled the batteries out, took them down to the shop, and they were both actually got about 12 volts on them. So I put them on a trickle charger overnight, each one overnight, then left it unplugged by themselves for about 3-4 days here, and checked the voltage, and it hasn't dropped. It stays steady right around 12.65 to 1.68 battery. What I did find is each battery terminal on both batteries were loose, so somebody was messing with it, and they were corroded. So I'm thinking that might have had something to do with it. What I did was clean the terminals on both batteries and both battery connections on the truck, reinstalled them, and we're going to get ready to fire it up. And I'm going to use my scan tool to see if I can do a cylinder balance test. Try to record that as I drive it down to the shop down there. Once we get it in the shop, I'm going to put my compression tester on it, pull the glow plug for number 5, put the compression sensor on there, and do a compression test, and hopefully try to narrow it down to see if it is cylinder issue or it could just be the number 5 injectors failed, which is what I'm hoping if we get lucky. I don't hear any knocking, it's just a miss more than anything. But it does have a pretty extreme engine oil leak out the front. The mechanic I bought it from believed that it was front seal. Very well could be. Our plan is today to kind of get closer inspection on that, have an inspection camera, see if we can get narrowed down to see if it's the seal. Front seal, which is fairly good quality and design on these 6.7s, or is it the notorious vacuum pump gasket failure where those vacuum pump bolts work themselves out? So stay tuned to see if this is a engine rebuild needed or a $10 gasket and a new injector. We got a running F450. I'm pretty excited. Stay tuned. I'm gonna get the scanner set up and the keys to the truck and get going. All right, got the F450 into the shop. Fortunately, it doesn't fit very well. Won't be able to close the doors, so, but that's all right. Worst things we got to deal with. You can see it's definitely leaking quite a bit of oil as you backed it in. Did a cylinder balance test as I was driving it over here to the shop. Definitely number 5's giving it havoc. Not sure. Could definitely be some mechanical issues inside that engine. Well, first what we're going to do is we're getting a cylinder 5 misfire code. So we're going to pull the glow plug on cylinder 5 and do a compression test. I do have a compression tester that I bought for the Excursion with the 6.0. Nice thing about it, it came with the adapters for both the 7.3, 6.0, and 6.7. So, gonna do that. Depending on, I'm gonna do that first before I even look to see where the oil leak's coming from, because it really doesn't matter if I end up having it failing a compression test whether it's got an oil leak or not, because we'll be pulling the motor and figuring out what's going on. So try to see what we can do, recording what we need. Cylinder number 5 on the Powerstroke is on the front driver's side. So we'll pull some of the stuff out of the way, see how we can get to it, make it easier. Okay, it was too tight for me to really film it, but I'm trying to get the number 5 glow plug out of the engine here, and got to go through the cylinder or the fender well. So first, you take your fender liner off, which you can see here. It's a combination of mine, anyways, was a combination of number 8 and 5.5. You can see it's 5.5 there, number 8 screws. So I took that out, those out to get the fender liner out, and that includes, let's see if I can get a better angle here, these screws where my, this is a F450, so I got a fender flares because the front axle is wider. So got the fender liner out, and then there's another liner right next to, up against the fuel rail and stuff, which is like this. This one's pretty shredded. There's actually 3 connectors on this one. I think one was missing. So I had one here. This is towards the front of the engine. You have to get from the top. It was easiest to get it from right down past that boost hose. We had one here. That's 2. And one here. That's 3. That's all that was holding mine on. But I did notice this. So there might have been a 4th one back there that was gone. You can see it's been chewed up, so I don't know if somebody tried to rip it off because they were trying to figure out how to get it off. But it was held on by these little screws. But they're not screws. But I unscrewed them like they were screws, and it seemed to loosen them up enough to where I could pull them. But if you look, it's not threads. It's more just like a plastic insert for a body panel. So when all said and done, I'm not going to put this back on, even if it's good to go, because I'm going to try to find a new liner, and I'll get some more of these pins, because I don't know how well they're going to work after being pulled out. So I got those 2 liners out, and then you got to get under here, and unfortunately probably taking the wheel off might give you more room. As you can see, it's pretty dark, so then I get my light, so that takes up my hands. Between my hands, light in one hand and tool in the other. See if you can see where so you can't even see it. Let me try it from this end. I can't even do it like this. I'm not even holding any tools. Okay, so we'll edit the video, I guess, and see if it comes out. I think that's the hole. Can't really see. But let's see if we can get it from this angle. So if it comes out, it's right there. I already got the glow plug out. I used needle nose pliers, pulled off the actual pigtail off the glow plug, and then a number 8 1/4-inch drive, deep socket, and then all I had was 2 short extensions. A 1/4-inch drive was not on tight, so it didn't have to take a lot of torque, and that gives me my glow plug. Doesn't appear to be broken. It's dry, so it doesn't make me think that it's dumping fuel in the cylinder. One of my thoughts was maybe the fuel injector was stuck open and just filling it full of fuel, which eventually will cause it to hydrolock, so it could do damage. Now I'm going to get my compression tester out and we'll run a compression test. So I pulled it out. This is the Ecm Pcm Relay. I want to pull this out so it doesn't run, but it should still crank over. But when I pop the cover, I notice it looks like somebody tried popping it out already and it's busted. So I'm gonna plan on getting a new one. The number on it is number 38 on the fuse box cover, which is gonna be right there in the center. Number on this relay is, looks to be G1UHQ. Again, C1UHQ. I'm sorry, G1UHQ. Ordered this Powerstroke compression test kit. I ordered this a long time ago when I had the excursion. I thought I might need it when I was troubleshooting some stuff. Ended up not using it. The nice thing is, comes with the adapters for both 7.3, 6.0, and 6.7. So I got a compression tester gauge, and you can see if I can get a good view of it. They say you need one at least about 400. Well, it should test to be about 400 pounds. So we'll see. This number here is what we need for the 6.7. So I'll match it with the number on the adapter. Again, this threads right into your glow plug.
So we are reading the inside pressure reading, which ends up showing around 350 psi for the cylinder number 5. We repeat the test on cylinder number 6, which is directly behind it to the rear of cylinder 5, and we get a similar pressure reading. So this tells us that most likely our compression test is good. We need to move on to the injector.